Welcome to the Vitality Vault Podcast, your one-stop shop for health and wellness. Join us as we dive deep into the latest medical trends, break down complex health topics, and empower you to live a more vibrant life.
Hi there. I'm Dr. Bacchus Morris, a triple board certified physician who specializes in internal medicine, obesity medicine, as well as anti-aging, regenerative, and aesthetic medicine.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gerald Morris, and I am a double board certified physician in internal medicine and obesity medicine with special interest in peptide therapeutics, which I got certified in.
Together, we're passionate about helping you achieve optimal health and longevity. From exercise, nutrition, we'll be bringing you the latest cutting edge in terms of weight loss and everything else in the wellness world to help you achieve a healthier you.
So our goal is to help you live your best life. So whether you're looking for weight loss strategies, longevity, just want to live a little bit better, and have these tips that you can apply to your daily life from day one, we are here to help. So come join us on this journey.
Join the doctors, voted top internist in Tucson 4 years running. So let's unlock your potential together. Welcome to the Vitality Vault Podcast with Dr. B and Dr. G.
Welcome back, everyone, to our Vitality Vault podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about inflammation again with respect to the gut and a little bit about the gut-brain axis. So I am Dr. B, welcome, and this is Dr. G.
Oh, well, hi there.
With a brand new sock for this episode.
So today I am wearing, drumroll, I am wearing my trophy husband socks. Come on. Come on.
I think you got to pull the pants up a little bit. We couldn't see it all.
Oh, there
we go.
Trophy husband.
A little too much skin, but yeah.
A little too much skin. Sorry. This is a G-rated show. Sorry. We're not going burlesque here. But we are talking about the gut.
We are. Yes. And we're talking general inflammation.
Okay.
The gut. And the gut inflammation is huge because at least 80% of toxins and anything else bad that's introduced to the body is actually through our mouths.
Oh, yes.
That goes straight through our gut. So, when you think about it, that's where most of the stuff that we put into our body, that's where we put it in, right?
Exactly.
We ingest it. And we've talked at length about different foods, processed foods. We've talked about alcohol. We talked about other things that are just like poisons to our body. So the gut is really important. Keeping the gut healthy is important because it feeds the other processes in our body, and specifically the brain. That's a big one. The gut-brain connection is huge. There's this bi-directional connection between the gut and brain. And so what happens in each affects the other. And so a lot of inflammatory conditions are linked to both gut and brain.
And that's interesting that you say that because most people don't really recognize the fact that your gut is what we call the second brain. And that's because of that relationship. So tell me, so if you're someone who has celiac disease,
right,
or gluten sensitivity, or let's say Crohn's, or something where your gut is inflamed, right? What are we talking about in terms of risk for them brain-wise?
So when you have an inflamed gut, you have all these mediators released, and it causes some of the membranes to become what we call leaky. So it causes us to have bigger spaces and leakage of a bunch of toxins, actually, that's not supposed to make its way into the bloodline. But because we have that leaky gut, then we have things that are being processed into our blood that's not great, and that's taken straight to the brain, and that's affecting the way that we, think, or memory, concentration, focus, etc. And then it's a vicious cycle because that then feeds back to the gut to say that we're being unhealthy up here, and it's bringing in more inflammation. So it's that vicious cycle of the brain-gut axis.
Yeah. So typically, when you eat something wrong, or if you have leaky gut or suspecting you might have it, you're going to have some neurological effects of that. And to Dr. B's point, for a lot of patients, what they don't realize is that having that is where you see like issues with fatigue, fibromyalgia, a lot of chronic conditions happen because of the leaky gut. Because once there's that split, and those toxins or mediators from that's inside your gut end up inside the bloodstream, your body reacts to those. And then you get auto-antibodies. So there is, a growing amount of data and studies out there to show that having weak barriers in your gut, like the leaky gut, increases the risk of autoimmune conditions like thyroiditis. Even some conditions like joint inflammatory conditions can happen because of the gut. So the gut is really important. It's key to keep it healthy.
Yeah, we've seen spontaneous autoimmune problems just pop up in patients who've had, we call it a gut insult, whether it be a viral attack or some kind of bug that's caused this cascade and sets you up, unfortunately, for some of these autoimmune conditions. So celiac is a big one. I've seen a lot more celiac recently.
Yes.
And not just celiac. So the real definition of celiac is having those antibodies against gluten. So there are specific antibodies that you run in the celiac panel that you'll come up positive for. But not just the celiac patients, but people who are just sensitive to gluten, to that actual protein, the gliadin protein in gluten, that they don't necessarily have those antibodies, but it's more of I think it's more of a sensitivity,
I think so too.
And not just to gluten on a whole, but it's the way that wheat is processed. It's the result of the genetic modification of different plants. We see that with wheat. We see that with corn, and some other one. But those are the two biggest ones that we see here in the U.S. That's causing havoc in our gut, actually.
Yeah, so don't think we're hating on gluten, because we're not hating on gluten, but
it doesn't do well for me, I stay away from it.
But we do know that it's the hybridization of the wheat is what's causing it can cause a lot of the inflammation that we're seeing in the gut.
So as we talk about gut, the microbiome of the gut is really important.
Oh, yes.
For those of you who don't know, microbiome relates to just all of the organisms that are in the gut. We have healthy bacteria that lives in the gut. That is essential for a healthy gut. And so you have to have a good balance of the different types of bacteria to have a healthy gut. And eating certain foods definitely throw off that microbiome. You can have overgrowth of certain bacteria that tends to give you bloating, flatulence, upsets GI system, just not feeling well. And that can translate again to all this inflammation coming in that can transfer to the brain. And then, we're back into that rut again. So microbiome, really important. So we, you've heard about probiotics, prebiotics. All these things are important. Yes, we can replace some of it, but we want to make sure that we're eating right. We're eating good balance of fruits and vegetables, good fiber. We want to eat good whole grains as well, too. And we want to have a variety. Variety is actually really important.
Yes.
So if you're one of those people that eat the same thing every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Wait, you gotta pick me out.
You might want to change that up a little, because I'm
out of here.
So diversity really helped to encourage a good gut microbiome. That's really important. And as we talk about probiotics, you're a big fan of probiotics and prebiotics, right, Dr. G?
Oh, yes.
So probiotics, basically, you can buy them in capsules or powder form, and they're given to you in different balances of different types of organisms, different types of good bacteria to help to replace that. But prebiotics are actually the foods that these probiotics feed on. So it's always good if you don't have good prebiotics in your diet, which are like complex starches, whole grains, inulins, some other food, chicory root, some other
Sauerkraut.
foods that definitely fermented foods, yes, that will help to feed and encourage that good bacteria.
Kombucha.
You can actually, yes, all my favorite things.
Loves the
I
booch.
love
She
kombucha.
loves the booch. Dr. B loves the booch.
You can actually get prebiotics in a supplement form. Most of them come in powdered forms. You can, mix it in your foods or your drinks and do it that way. And anything that you could do to promote good bacteria growth in your intestines, that's going to go a long way.
If you want to get Dr. B a gift for her birthday, a case of booch. Right, Mike, you heard that, Mike? Make sure you get Dr. B a case of kombucha. That's right. Julie is, I'm telling you, loves the booch.
Dr. G likes it too. I don't know what he's saying over there.
All right. So now moving on, let's talk about the microbiome. We touched on that already. Dr. B, you've handled this quite nicely. We know it's a host of bacteria and different small organisms that help to produce good things in our gut. I think it's important for people to understand also the effect of using drugs like antibiotics.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, let's face it, that's a huge way to wipe out your gut microbiome.
Well, it's there to kill bacteria, and
Everything.
so an antibiotic can't really differentiate between good and bad.
You mean it doesn't ask when it gets in? It's like, hey, buddy, are you the good
So
one or
it
the
just-
bad one?
It just goes down to your gut and creates havoc, unfortunately.
Are you the good bacteria or the bad one? No, it doesn't do that. It just wipes everything out. So if you are on an antibiotic regimen, you want to find out from your healthcare provider, hey, should I be on a probiotic? Now, we like live culture, so doing things like yogurt is a good thing to be on. But to Dr. B's point, prebiotics are the best. And you want to space those out.
Yes.
You don't want to take the probiotic with the antibiotic. That's kind of sending the bacteria in and then aiming your gun at them and shooting them as they're going in. Then you're killing them. So you want to kind of space out your antibiotic usage and your probiotic usage.
A few hours after
you have antibiotic,
usually,
you should be doing it.
You
Yeah.
send the good guys
Send
down
the guys in, yes.
to repair
SEAL
what
Team
the bad
6,
guys
send them in. All right, so strategies to promote to gut health and treat inflammation. I mean, it's right here, self-explanatory. You want to nurture a healthy gut, so you want to eat foods that are good for the gut. Reduce your stress, because the gut-brain axis is huge. You want to keep that down. Fun fact, most people don't realize that the majority of the serotonin that your body needs is actually made in the gut. It's the kynurenine pathway. It's really cool. It's actually made in the gut. So if the gut is dysregulated and you're not getting that, you're going to end up with a deficiency in serotonin. And obviously we know where that leads to, right? Sleep, important. Adequate sleep is good. Making sure you go into deep REM and deep sleep. Because what that does, it helps the brain too, because then during deep sleep, the lymphatics work and the brain gets to dump all the garbage is picked up throughout the day. Good stuff. Dietary interventions, we know what these are. Like one of our favorites, the Mediterranean diet. That's a good one for you to be on, Something that's not pro-inflammatory. You want to be on an anti-inflammatory diet as much as you can because you want to protect the gut. Right? Supplements, very important. The majority of supplements, what they will do is help support your gut bacteria. The good guys you have in there, you want to make sure that they stay healthy. So that's one way to definitely keep your gut lining and the gut wall strong, right? And you want to avoid excessive alcohol and processed foods. Anything that's pro-inflammatory is going to break down your gut barrier. Breaking down the gut barrier leads to more inflammation getting into your actual GI tract. Now, just to get gross real quick, at a conference, I think it was a year or two ago, one of the doctors talking about gut health. And what we know as one of the major contributors to inflammation in the body is what we call lipopolysaccharide. And what that is, it's actually, I think, a breakdown product of bad bacteria.
Yes, it is.
That's actually in your lumen of the gut where the food is, but it gets through the wall and ends up in your bloodstream. So the acronym for it is LPS. So this doc was like, yeah, you don't want to have little pieces of floating around in your bloodstream because that's what LPS is. Little pieces of
crap.
And you can finish it. I thought that was hilarious. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Because it is your gut. It's down there, right? But
Yep.
she was like, yeah, LPS, lipopolysaccharide, stands for little pieces of, and you can finish it. I won't.
So it's basically little pieces of poop entering your
Bloodstream,
Okay.
wreaking havoc. So get that image in your head when you pick up that bad food and put it in your mouth.
Okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now, since we talked about inflammation in the gut, what
Yes.
kinds of tests would you recommend? So if I came to you and I'm sitting down and I'm like, okay, Dr. B, I'm bloated all the time, I'm moody all the time. I mean, I'm gaining weight, I can't lose weight. You know, my skin looks horrible. You know, all the stuff that we know, patients who have gut inflammation, my joints are aching, you know, I just feel like I'm off, you know, my bowels are infrequent. You know, what kind of testing would you recommend, or take me through your thought process behind seeing a patient like me?
Well, first of all, I would rule out menopause in you. Because, I mean, those are all the symptoms, right? I'll be like, Dr. G, are you okay?
It just hurts sometimes. Wow. I can't believe you went there. Wow.
But if you're a male, maybe
female.
I'd probably go another route. But no, those are all symptoms of definitely gut dysfunction and menopause too. But yes, gut dysfunction. So you mentioned a lot of different symptoms there. You could be dealing with food sensitivities. You could be dealing with overgrowth of bacteria in the gut, specifically the small bowels. You could be talking about dysbiosis, which is dysfunction of your microbiome. So overgrowth of certain bad bacteria and not having enough good bacteria or other organisms. You could also have something else inflammatory going on, like an autoimmune gut issue. So there are a number of testings that you could do during this time. So I would typically start with, blood work, ruling out certain things, making sure your organs are working well, liver, etc., and testing maybe food sensitivities. Again, as we spoke about a modification of food in agriculture these days, a lot of things that are being done to foods are actually triggering different responses from our body. So we're having a lot of new allergies and sensitivities pop up. And there's some blood testing that's available for that. There's also some allergy testing. Like if you go to an allergist, they could do that skin prick testing to come up with, figure out what you're reacting to. There are different elimination diets that you could do with respect to how to go about, if there were some food sensitivities, how to go about getting rid of those. Or, if I have someone whose list comes back this long, you might want to start a true elimination diet where you just cut out all of those foods plus other foods that are known to cause inflammation, and you introduce them one at a time so that you could really see which one is causing the problem. And you can identify, okay, I definitely have problems with corn or dairy, so I'm going to stay away from that, because when I introduced that one product, I just didn't feel good. I was fatigued, bloated, whatever the case may be.
So what about those patients where, okay, you've done some testing, you figured out, hey, you know what, you're sensitive to milk and milk products. And then I tell you, okay, how about if I only drink half the amount of milk as I normally do? Or I only eat brie cheese instead of cheddar. Or you know what? Instead of a handful of nuts, I'm only going to have 1 peanut a day. What do you tell that kind of person?
Well, you might as well just go ahead and do it all, because it is going to create inflammation. So, just eating half the amount isn't equivalent to half the inflammation. And why do we even want half the inflammation?
Some people do.
So, if you really want to get rid of that bloating, of that fatigue, or whatever you're having trouble sleeping, I mean, it affects our entire body. Again, we spoke about the gut-brain axis. So if you want to eliminate that and there's something that you have identified that is causing the problem, you need to get rid of it.
Stop it.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that there may be times that you don't know that certain things are in your food. And that's the issue with going out to eat and just
true.
not knowing, what spices, especially spice. A lot of people are sensitive to certain spices. What spices are in your food, what recipes. And sometimes you ask the restaurant and they really don't know.
That's true.
Unless you
That's
speak
true.
with the chef directly. Sometimes you get the wrong information. But, sometimes that can creep back up. But if you're deliberately doing it, then obviously you're going to continue to feel not well.
Cool.
Yeah.
So basically, take home is if you know it's affecting you, just don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Why live inflamed? Life's too awesome to be living inflamed.
Absolutely. Now, I know you might be thinking, okay, so how do I know if I have dysbiosis,
Yes.
if my microbiome isn't
okay.
functioning
Yes.
well? So there are a number of stool tests. So there are different companies. Mostly we refer to them as functional labs. So we have some like Genova, Doctors Data, Genomics. There are a bunch of them. There are different ones. Or you can actually check the composition of your microbiome. So they'll name like 100 species of the different bacteria, funguses, whatever is in the gut, and it will tell you the concentration, and it will let you know based on the concentration with respect to the others if it's healthy or not. So for example, if you're only supposed to have 20% of a specific bacteria with respect to the rest of your microbiome, but you have 80% of that's overgrowth of that, and that could be causing some of your symptoms. And so you can work with your doctor in terms of what should you do, what foods should you eat to help to improve that microbiome, what types of probiotics and prebiotics are good for you, increasing the amount of fermented foods, etc. And sometimes we actually have to use antibiotics or antifungal agents if you really have a lot of overgrowth of bad bacteria, especially the ones that are not supposed to be there in your system to begin with. I've had to do that and then help those patients because, again, if you're using an antibiotic, you're killing some of the good bacteria. So after you're done with that course, then we reintroduce some good stuff into your system. So it is not a short process. No. It is going to be something that is a lifestyle change for you. So going back to, cutting out foods for a short time, but then going back to them just because we feel like we can't do without them. You have to make a commitment for it to be more of a lifestyle change so that you can get rid of that inflammation completely and maintain good gut health.
All right. So that was gut health. I loved it. My belly's full. My belly is full. Dr. B, thank you so much. So to summarize, we talked about the gut health, the gut-brain axis, the fact that it's important to keep your gut healthy because it's going to keep your brain healthy, avoiding inflammatory things that can upset your gut microbiome because it is really trying to keep you healthy and well. And things you can do, strategies you can do to help improve your gut health in general, and testing. Testing is important. If you feel something is wrong, it's important for you to contact your qualified healthcare provider or your doctor and say, hey, you know what? I think I may be suffering with ABC, and have that conversation, or find a qualified healthcare provider that knows about this stuff that's able to help you navigate all the different testing that you can do to figure out where you stand gut health wise. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. B.
And feel free to send us questions. If you don't know where to start this, send us a question, send us a message, and we'll get back to you and let you know where we think you should, what avenue you should go down to, what type of doctor you should look for, what type of testing you should be looking into, etc.
Yeah, and like and subscribe. I mean, we're going to be doing a lot more of these episodes. We want to make sure that we are feeding you the knowledge that you seek to get you where you need to be on your health journey. So, I mean, the email's in the bottom in the show notes. You'll see the email down there. It's wellness@amgmedicaltucson.com. Please send us emails. We'd love to hear from you. Share this with your friends and family. We have a ton more episodes coming down the pipeline. We want to do more of these because we love educating and we love teaching and we want a healthier Tucson, right?
Absolutely. And we want to see which sock Dr. Morris is wearing per episode.
See it, right? Right? It's socks. I love socks. Thank you so much, guys, for joining Vitality Vault today. We'll catch you next time in the vault.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Vitality Vault with Dr. B and Dr. G. Don't forget to check out our other informative episodes as the doctors dive deep into your health and wellness so you can live a more vibrant life.